Lecture's topic is different type of chemical reactions. Now, when chemical reactions occur, a variety of rearrangements of atoms may take place. As a result, the reactions occur in many different ways, and these can be classified into the following simple types. The first type is combination reaction. I will write a reaction, uh, not a chemical reaction, but its simplest form, right? Just have a look at it. And this is the meaning of combination reaction. A plus B gives you AB. This is how, in the simplest manner, you can explain combination reaction. Two reactants combine to give you a single product. Two or more reactant it could be combined to give you a single product. That is combination reaction. So in combination reaction, two elements can combine together to give you a single compound. E means element. Okay, I will just write over here so you don't get confused. E means element, C means compound. So two elements can combine together to give you a single compound, right? An element and a compound can combine to give you a new compound, or two compounds can combine together to give you a new compound. So your final product will always be a compound, right? But it can be formed with different combinations. So all these different combinations are part of combination reaction. So basically, two or more substances combine to give a single substance. That is combination reaction. See the definition and note it down, right? You're taking notes, right? So whatever I'm highlighting, take a note of it. The reaction in which two or more substances, elements or compounds combine to form a single substance are called combination reactions. This is the definition of combination reaction, which you must remember. Now see what are the types, examples. Magnesium plus oxygen give magnesium oxide. Two elements, magnesium is an element, oxygen is an element, gives you magnesium oxide, which is a compound. Hydrogen plus oxygen gives water, combination reaction. More examples. Okay, before that, an activity, a combination reaction between quicklime and water. Quicklime, calcium oxide, water, H2O. If you combine this, you know what kind of reaction is this. It is a combination reaction, but it is one more kind of reaction. It is an exothermic reaction. Why? Because it gives calcium hydroxide, CaOH twice, and this beaker, it heats up when this reaction takes place. So heat is evolved. That's why it is also an exothermic reaction. So it is an exothermic combination reaction. Quicklime plus water gives you slaked lime. Remember the common names as well as chemical name as well as chemical formulae. This has become very important now, right? So what kind of a reaction is this? This is an exothermic combination reaction. It is not a type of combination reaction, but there are two types which we have studied till now, uh, exothermic and endothermic, out of which this is the exothermic one, and also it shows the characteristics of a combination reaction. That's why it is exothermic combination reaction, right? Okay. Now, as I told you, there are three common types of combination reaction: element plus element, element plus compound, or compound plus compound. All will give you compound, right? See, there is one more important information given to you over here. I will show you this one. A solution of slaked lime produced above is used for whitewashing the walls. You know whitewashing? So whitewash is basically a coat which is applied on walls to give it a white finish. But it is not as long lasting and as durable as your uh, plastic emulsion paint. The Asian paints, the expensive Asian paints which we put in our houses, right? This whitewash, or you can say calcium hydroxide, is not so durable or so reliable as the normal paints which we use nowadays. So what is this whitewash? Whitewash is nothing but calcium hydroxide, which is your slaked lime. Slaked lime, when it is applied on walls, it reacts with carbon dioxide of air and it produces calcium carbonate. You know what is calcium carbonate? Calcium carbonate is limestone. Calcium carbonate is limestone. Limestone is, in normal terms, marble. So that effect is like marble. It gives you uh, white, shiny finish to the wall. Right? When you apply slaked lime to the wall, it gives you white shiny finish, right? Plus H2. So this is the reaction between calcium hydroxide. This calcium hydroxide, slaked lime, is also known as chuna, which you apply on the walls, right? If you want to experience, or if you must have experience, if you want to know where you have experience, maybe in your school or some places where if you just touch the wall, if you um, stand against the wall, this tuna sticks to your body parts or your clothes, and your hand or your shirt, it becomes white. It becomes it. There are white patches on it of tuna. So that is your slaked lime uh, converted into calcium carbonate, right? Which is a whitewash on the wall. So it is not very long lasting. It is just a temporary solution. It gives a painted effect on the walls, but it is not actually a permanent paint. Okay, it is just a temporary solution. Okay, so that's just more something more about slaked lime and limestone. Let's go ahead. Now there are more examples of combination of two elements to form a compound. Carbon plus oxygen gives carbon dioxide. Hydrogen plus chlorine in the presence of sunlight gives you hydrogen chloride. This reaction of formation of hydrogen chloride has industrial applications, and it is used for manufacture of hydrogen chloride gas. And this hydrogen chloride gas, you must have heard about hydrogen chloride gas, right? It has a very choking smell, pungent smell, just like ammonia. But yeah, maybe a little bit stronger than that. So when this hydrogen chloride is dissolved in water, it is highly soluble in water. When it is dissolved in water, it gives you hydrochloric acid, most commonly used acid in domestic and industrial purposes, right? So hydrochloric acid is formed by dissolving hydrogen chloride gas in water. So these are also types of combination reaction. Okay, then magnesium plus oxygen gives you magnesium oxide, and you've seen that burning of magnesium ribbon, the same thing. Iron plus sulfur gives iron sulfide. Hydrogen plus oxygen gives water. Sodium chloride, sodium chloride, common salt, it is also formed by combination reaction. Sodium plus chlorine gives sodium chloride. Then combination of an element and a compound. Now see, nitric oxide, NO, plus oxygen gives you nitrogen dioxide. Nitric oxide is a compound, oxygen is an element, it gives you nitrogen dioxide, which is also a compound. It has brown color. Remember the color of nitrogen dioxide. Brown gas, it is a brown gas. Then sulfur dioxide plus oxygen gives you sulfur trioxide. Both with very, very bad smells. Sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide, both are pollutants as well, right? They are responsible for the formation of acid rain. Remember that. combination of two compounds to form a new compound. Remember these examples, and you have to remember the word equation. So that when in exam they ask you, give an example of combination reaction in which two compounds combine to form a new compound. So you can remember ammonia plus hydrochloric acid gives ammonium chloride, or ammonia plus hydrogen chloride gives ammonium chloride. So if you remember the word equation, you can very well write them in the chemical formula form and then balance it. Then you will get the full marks, right? So what you have to remember is not the chemical reactions. You have to remember the word equations. Okay. Then uh, just a moment. Yeah. Calcium oxide plus uh, sulfur trioxide gives calcium sulfate. Calcium oxide is a compound, sulfur trioxide is a compound, gives you new compound calcium sulfate. Then calcium oxide plus water gives calcium hydroxide. Quicklime plus water gives you slaked lime, right? Okay, so here there is this activity where they have given you two test tubes. In one test tube there is ammonia. I've already told you about ammonia. Yeah, what is the source of ammonia? Human source, organic source, urine, right? So you smell near public urinals, you smell ammonia. Plus hydrogen chloride, which is a inorganic compound, right? If you take two test tubes, one full of ammonia, one full of hydrogen chloride, and if you bring the mouths of those test tube near to each other, those two gases combine with each other. Combination reaction. Those two gases combine with each other and they form white fumes of ammonium chloride. Now you must remember ammonium chloride from class 9. In class 9 you have studied that ammonium chloride is a sublimable solid, right? If you heat ammonium chloride crystals, they directly get converted into vapor. So here the vapors of ammonium chloride are formed, and if you put a cold surface over it, a cold dish over it, they will all sublime over there and become ammonium chloride uh, deposits deposits of ammonium chloride, right? So this is a very important reaction. Now you can very well balance the reaction. I have already shown the balancing. I'll show you here, just a moment. See, NH3 plus HCl gives NH4Cl. Ammonia plus hydrogen chloride gives ammonium chloride. It is already balanced equation. There are four hydrogens both the side, one nitrogen, one chlorine. Already balanced equation, right? So you can remember the word equation and then try to balance it. Balance it. If it is already balanced, then very good. If it is not balanced, then you will get marks for balancing, right? The second kind of reaction is decomposition reaction. Let me explain decomposition reaction in a simple manner. So decomposition reaction can be explained like this. AB gives A plus B. Now you understand what is happening over here. A compound which breaks up into two or more simpler substances, right? That kind of reaction is known as decomposition reaction. Okay, so the reaction in which compound breaks up into two or more simpler substances is known as a decomposition reaction. Please note this definition of decomposition reaction. These reactions generally takes place when energy is supplied in the form of heat, light, electricity, catalyst or catalysis. The decomposition reactions are reverse of combination reaction. As you see that in combination reaction, two or more substances combine to give you a new substance. Here, one substance decomposes to give you two or more substances. So it is reverse of combination reaction. The first type of decomposition reaction is thermal decomposition. Thermal decomposition is the decomposition reaction which is carried out by supply of heat. So what do we have here? Lead nitrate. Lead nitrate in a test tube is heated. It gives out lead oxide, which is solid form, nitrogen dioxide, brown fumes. You see brown fumes coming out of the test tube plus oxygen. So lead nitrate has completely broken down into three substances: lead oxide, nitrogen dioxide, and oxygen. Remember the equation and remember the observation, remember the word equation, okay? And then you have to balance it. Okay, now this is an example of a thermal decomposition reaction because this is carried out by the supply of heat. Okay, then ferrous sulfate. Now see, the crystals of ferrous sulfate. Ferrous sulfate is a salt which is in the crystalline form. It is of green color. Ferrous sulfate crystals are of green color. When you heat it, first ferrous sulfate breaks down into anhydrous ferrous sulfate. Anhydrous matlab without the water of crystallization. Do you see this 7H2O over here, which is in combination with FeSO4? That is the water of crystallization. Now that 7H2O has been removed, so this ferrous sulfate now has become anhydrous. Anhydrous, or you can say it has become dry. And it has become white. Its green color has also gone and it has become powdery. Its crystalline form has also gone. But if you continue to heat it, if you continue to heat FeSO4, the water evaporates. But ferrous sulfate further breaks down into ferric oxide, which is a brown color solid, brown color powder, plus sulfur dioxide plus sulfur trioxide. So now you see a proper decomposition happening. FeSO4 decomposes into Fe2O3, Fe2O3 plus SO2 plus SO3. So this decomposition has occurred with the help of heat. That's why it is known as thermal decomposition. Then there is decomposition by electricity or electrical decomposition. This decomposition occurs when you pass electricity through any compound. So the best example for this is water. When you pass when you pass electricity through water, what happens is water breaks up into hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen, being a positive ion, gets collected at cathode. Hydrogen gets collected at cathode, and oxygen, being a negative ion, gets collected at anode. So at anode, here you see all the oxygen collected, and at cathode you see all the hydrogen collected, right? Also, the amount of hydrogen is double the amount of oxygen. So what you are doing, this setup is known as Hoffman's voltameter. So basically there are two test tubes which are kept inverted in a glass beaker, and there is acidified water inside the glass beaker. Now the two test tubes are inserted with two uh, graphite rods which are connected with a battery. The positive terminal is anode, the negative terminal is cathode. When the battery is uh, connected with the circuit with the help of a switch, current flows into the graphite electrode and passes through water. This water breaks down into hydrogen and oxygen, which is collected over anode and cathode and anode respectively. So this is how water breaks up with the help of electrolysis. Water splits into hydrogen and oxygen, its constituents, with the help of electrolysis, and that's why it is known as uh, electrolytic decomposition or decomposition with the help of electricity. Okay, next, decomposition by sunlight, photochemical decomposition. Now see, very nice example they have given over here. Silver chloride. So silver chloride is a compound which is white in color. The white crystals of silver chloride are put in a china dish. A china dish is a dish which is, just like your saucer, right? Okay. So when you put this dish, china dish containing white crystals of silver chloride in sunlight, silver chloride slowly starts decomposing with the help of sunlight and gets converted into silver and chlorine gas. Silver is left behind, which is gray colored metal, and shiny gray colored metal, and chlorine gas is evolved. So this decomposition has taken place with the help of sunlight. That's why it is also known as photochemical decomposition. And silver bromide, for your information, behaves in the same way. Silver bromide also gets decomposed with the help of sunlight and gets converted into silver plus bromine gas. You know bromine vapors, reddish brown color, right? Okay, more examples of decomposition reaction. Mercury oxide, HgO, on heating gives mercury plus oxygen. Calcium carbonate, which is limestone, on heating gives calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. Calcium oxide is quicklime, right? Calcium carbonate is limestone. Calcium oxide has many uses. It is commercially used in the manufacture of cement. Please note it. You will study about calcium oxide more, I think, in acid, bases, and salts. But still, wherever they are giving you the reference, some important points, you must note it down. Potassium chlorate on heating decomposes into potassium chloride plus oxygen, right? So these are all thermal decomposition. Now see a new kind of decomposition over here with the help of catalyst. So what is a catalyst? Catalyst is a substance, just a moment. Catalyst is a substance which alters the rate of reaction, which alters the rate of reaction without taking part in it, taking part in the reaction. So this is the definition of catalyst. Catalyst is a substance which alters the rate of reaction. What do you mean by alters the rate? Alters the rate means it makes the reaction faster or slower. It can also slow down the reaction. Some cases it makes the reaction faster. So catalyst is a substance which makes the reaction faster or slower, but it does not take part in the chemical reaction. So here one example is given. Methane is a gas which decomposes in the presence of a catalyst to give carbon plus hydrogen, right? You will study about this catalyst and this equation more in the last chapter of chemistry, that is carbon and its compounds. See the uses of decomposition reaction. The first use is in metallurgical processes. You are going to study this in chapter number 3, that is metals and non-metals. In metals and non-metals, they will teach you about extraction of metals. So metals are not available freely in the earth. They are always available in combined form, like zinc. Zinc is available in the form of ore of zinc. Ore is a substance which contains a lot of metal in it, right? So ore of zinc is zinc carbonate. So if you want to take out zinc from zinc carbonate, it is known as, the process is known as extraction of metal. So what you do is you heat it and zinc carbonate gets converted into zinc oxide and carbon dioxide. And further, zinc oxide can be reduced to get zinc. Now you will ask me, what is reduced? We are going to study oxidation and reduction reaction in this particular chapter, and that is our next topic. So let's keep it pending for now. Okay, next, one more example of uses of decomposition reaction. Aluminium oxide, molten aluminium oxide, on passage of electricity, it decomposes. It gets converted into aluminium plus oxygen. This reaction also we are going to study in chapter number 3, metals and non-metals. Right? So the process is known as electrolysis of molten aluminium oxide. Sodium chloride also decomposes with the help of electricity in the form of sodium and chlorine. Sodium metal is available. It is available in the molten form after decomposition, and chlorine gases evolved. Right. So for decomposition, we use some energies to carry out decomposition. That is heat, light, electricity. So mostly all these reactions where energies are absorbed are known as endothermic reactions. So mostly decomposition reaction are also endothermic reactions. Digestion of food is also a decomposition reaction. In digestion, what happens? The complex food substances which we store in our body, which we eat, are converted into simpler substances like sugar, amino acids, etc. etc. And our body releases a large amount of energy, and it keeps our body working, this energy. Right? So digestion is a kind of an example of decomposition reaction. Remember this. The third type of reaction is displacement reaction. See, the first type was combination reaction, A plus B gives AB. The second type was decomposition reaction, AB gives A plus B. And the third type is displacement reaction. A plus BC gives AC plus B. You see what happens? The place of B has been taken by A. A has taken the place of B. So a reaction in which one ion takes place of another ion in the compound is known as displacement reaction. And you might have studied in class 8 that whenever a more reactive metal is added or is reacted with the salt of less reactive metal, then the more reactive metal takes the place of less reactive metal and displaces it from its salt solution. Now you must be wondering, what is all this? I don't remember it. It's okay. I would just like to tell you that, remind you of one thing which you must know from class 8, that is reactivity series. Do you remember reactivity series from class 8? What is reactivity series? So reactivity series is a specific series of certain metals such that they are arranged in the order of decreasing reactivity as you move down the reactivity series. More active metal is placed on top and less active metals are subsequently placed below them. So at the bottom of reactivity series, the metal is platinum, which is the least reactive. At the top of reactivity series, if you remember, the metal is potassium. So it starts with the first metal, which is potassium, then sodium, then calcium, then magnesium, then aluminium, then zinc, then iron, and so on. You remember this? So this is the reactivity series of metal. So why is reactivity series being discussed over here? Because displacement reactions, they use the properties of reactivity series. The criteria is more reactive metal will displace less reactive metal from its salt solution, and then only displacement reaction will carry out. Let's take some example. So I have one test tube in which I have kept copper sulfate solution, which is initially blue in color. What happens to this copper sulfate solution when you dip a nail in it, an iron nail? So what happens is, you have dipped iron nail in copper sulfate solution which was blue. Now iron being above copper in the reactivity series, it takes place of copper and makes copper sulfate solution, a new solution, and copper is displaced. Now you see what happens? Iron takes place of copper and displaces copper. Copper is removed from salt solution. So what happens? What observation you see? The solution which was blue in color, copper sulfate, now becomes green in color. After 20-25 minutes, the whole solution changes into green color. And the copper, which is a reddish brown metal, it deposits on iron nail. Right? So this is, you can say, one very good example of displacement reaction. Let's take one more example. When metallic zinc reacts with dilute sulfuric acid, zinc sulfate is formed and hydrogen is evolved. So what happens is zinc being above hydrogen in the reactivity series. Now you must be wondering how come hydrogen is a part of reactivity series? It is not even a metal. I know it is not even a metal, but it is a positive ion. It possesses all the properties of positive ions and it is considered to be having properties of metals. That's why it is placed in reactivity series. So if you see reactivity series, I'll directly show you the reactivity series. Wait, yes, this is the reactivity series. You see the position of hydrogen over here? All the metals which are above hydrogen, they are more reactive than hydrogen. And they react with acids, bases, and water to give out hydrogen. All these metals, they react with compounds containing hydrogen. For example, acid, bases, and water. But these metals which you see below hydrogen, they do not react hydrogen with hydrogen. They are less reactive than hydrogen, and they do not react with acid, bases, and water also. Copper does not react with any acid, but zinc does. Why does zinc react with hydrogen and copper does not react with hydrogen? Because zinc is placed above hydrogen in the reactivity series. Copper is placed below hydrogen in the reactivity series. Right? That's why we saw that whatever example they had given us. Yeah, zinc plus sulfuric acid gives zinc sulfate plus hydrogen. Zinc can easily displace hydrogen from its solution, which is acid in this case. So H plus ions are replaced by Zn2 plus ions. Right? One more examples are here. See, zinc plus copper sulfate will give you zinc sulfate plus copper. Magnesium plus copper sulfate will give you magnesium sulfate plus copper. Why is zinc and magnesium successful in removing copper from copper sulfate? Because they are placed above copper in reactivity series. So they are more reactive than copper, and that's why they can replace copper from its salt solution. So it's an example of displacement reaction. More examples. Lead plus copper chloride gives lead chloride plus water. Potassium bromide plus chlorine gives potassium chloride plus bromine. What is replacing whom over here in this equation? Whose place is taken by chlorine? Bromines. So chlorine displaces bromine. Why does chlorine displace bromine? It is not even a metal. Chlorine is a non-metal, but it is more reactive than bromine. That's why chlorine displaces bromine. Silver nitrate plus copper gives copper nitrate plus silver. Now see here, copper is more reactive than silver. So copper displaces silver from its salt solution. See the same example. Copper plus silver nitrate, which is colorless initially, gives copper nitrate, which is blue, plus silver. So when you dip a copper wire in silver nitrate solution, what happens? This copper displaces silver from its salt solution. The silver nitrate solution, which was colorless before, becomes copper nitrate solution and blue in color, and the silver gets deposited on copper wire. Copper wire becomes shiny gray in color because all the silver is deposited on copper wire. Right? So displacement reaction. Then there is double displacement reaction. So what happens in double displacement reaction? Two compounds react to form two other compounds by mutual exchange of atoms or group of atoms. two compounds. See here, one compound is AB, another compound is CD. AB plus CD gives AC plus BD, two new compounds. But how have two new compounds been formed? There is just mutual exchange of ions. C, which was with D earlier, takes the place of B and comes with A. And B, which was with A earlier, takes the place of C and becomes BD, right? So there is mutual exchange of ions or atoms or group of atoms. So when there is displacement happening but twice, then this particular reaction is known as double displacement reaction. Very good example they have given over here. Sodium sulfate solution. Sodium sulfate solution plus barium chloride solution, right? Sodium sulfate and barium chloride. What is the color? I think both are colorless. Is it given somewhere? Yeah, both are colorless. They both are colorless. When they are mixed, sodium sulfate and barium chloride, when these two reactants are mixed with each other, they exchange their ions. So the sulfate goes with barium, becomes barium sulfate, which becomes a solid, that is a white precipitate of barium sulfate, and chloride ions goes to sodium and becomes sodium chloride, which becomes aqueous solution, colorless solution of sodium chloride. And you see white insoluble precipitate of barium sulfate settling down. So why has this happened? This has happened due to double displacement. So barium chloride plus sodium sulfate gives barium sulfate plus sodium chloride. Here balancing is very easy. Balancing is very easy in this kind of reactions. Right? If you write skeletal reaction word equation and then directly formula, only in one or two steps you will get the balanced equation. So here the double displacement reaction which we have seen is also a type of precipitation reaction. Can you tell me why? Because barium sulfate precipitates are formed. Okay, so these reactions are also known as partner exchange reaction. See, silver nitrate plus sodium chloride gives silver chloride plus sodium nitrate. Barium chloride plus sulfuric acid gives barium sulfate plus hydrochloric acid. Copper sulfate plus hydrogen sulfide gives copper sulfide plus hydrogen sulfate, that is sulfuric acid, right? So double displacement reactions, more example. Then they have explained the reactivity series of metals, which I have already explained in detail, but one point I want to just go again and explain in detail. If you mix copper with zinc sulfate solution, why there is no reaction? Can you tell me? If you mix copper with zinc sulfate solution, why there is no reaction? There is no reaction because copper cannot displace zinc from its salt solution. Why can't copper displace zinc from its salt solution? Just look at the position of copper here. Where is copper? Over here. And where is zinc? Over here. Copper is below zinc. So copper is less reactive than zinc. So a less reactive metal cannot displace more reactive metal from its salt solution. So copper will not displace zinc from its salt solution. So no reaction will occur in this case. But if it would have been zinc plus copper sulfate as shown above, it would have formed copper plus zinc sulfate. Zinc would successfully replace or displace copper from its salt solution because it is more reactive than copper. Right? So now the displacement reaction with the help of reactivity series of metals should become very clear. Okay, some more examples. And the next type is oxidation and reduction reaction. This we are going to cover in the next video. This is the most important type of reaction which we are going to study. That's why I'm keeping a separate video for oxidation and reduction. And this will be the last video of the chapter, oxidation and reduction. Right? So I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye bye.